Welcome, everybody, to the Indiana Basketball Show on the Gruely True Sports Network. I'm your co-host, Mike Goodpaster, along with Hoosier legend. Once again, he always writes me his introduction, Steve Risley. Steve, we got a chance to dance.
The chance to dance is back, baby. It's hanging on by a thread. It's slim and none, but I feel like the guy from Dumb and Dumber. Of course, you're the dumber one. I'm dumb.
Yeah, everybody knows
But
that's not true.
so
Go ahead.
you're saying we have a chance?
There is a chance. The Indiana Hoosiers dominated in the second half against Purdue yesterday afternoon to give them that chance to dance still with 3 games left in the season. And the interesting thing here is, Steve, it looks like Woody finally figured out how to sub and how not to sub. The first half was a little rough because he went back to the two big guys for a little while. Purdue got on a run, but the second half, he shortened the bench and he played with the guys that he should have been playing with. And Purdue is a team that I think has been found out. They can't defend in the perimeter. They don't have a shot blocker. There's a lot of issues with Purdue. And yesterday, Indiana took advantage of those issues.
Yeah, this game was so positive and yet so disappointing all in one. Positive in the sense that this team showed its tremendous resiliency. They got it right on the lineups, the matchups. As you said, they exposed Purdue's weaknesses, as you said. They played to their strengths. They got down by 13, 14 and didn't quit, and they fought their way back in, and Bentla built a 14, 15, 16, 17-point lead all through the second half. They came out and fired in the start of the second half. The right personnel was in. I mean, that part of it was all good. The disappointing part is, why are we waiting till 4 games left in the season to figure this all out? The shorter, quicker lineup was very much what's needed in the Big Ten. I think that they just thought the mentality was, we've got Mbalo, we got Mbako, we got Balo and Mbako. We can dominate with the bigs. Well, the problem with those is, Mbako wasn't consistent enough all season. He was great when he was great. And Balo just never figured out how to get after it and use his athleticism and prowess to play hard for 30 minutes a game, which if he'd have given us that, I think we'd be in a whole different boat right now. But nonetheless, we figured it out. And we came and put an impressive smacking. Now, I think this Purdue team may have been overrated most of the season, as you said, and I'm sure we'll get into that. And I'll let you take it from there because I've talked long
I
enough.
think when you look at the stat sheet, the two things that stand out to me are, number one, assist, Indiana 18-9, but total turnovers, Purdue 16, Indiana 7. But the big thing off of that is you've got the difference in the game. Points off turnovers, Indiana 23, Purdue 12. When you look at that, points in the paint, Indiana 44, Purdue 18. I mean,
yeah, we exposed their weakness of no post defense. Yeah, no doubt.
And it's been exposed for 4 straight games now, but it doesn't matter because we still exposed it. So I'm not ripping on it saying we beat a bad opponent. Purdue's not a bad team. They're not playing great right now, but this was a win Indiana had to have. And Malik Renew, 24 minutes, 15 points. Luke Goody, as always, 33 hard minutes, 11 points. Miles Rice, we found out, when you have the proper people around him, is a very good guard. Trey Galloway played very well. And the thing that stuck out to me was that Mackenzie Mbaku only played 9 minutes. I don't think he played at all in the second half. He scored no points. He's lazy. He don't play defense. And finally, Asmet bench, Steve.
Yeah, well, and you brought so much up there to talk about that we may be here for a while. Let's start with Asme's bench. And finally, I think he finally heard that enough and saw that clip of Knight on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever. Everybody shows that. The greatest motivator of all is Asme's bench. And I think maybe Mike took heart with that and employed it. But I think that tied with it and addresses, if you want to, Mike, I felt for the first time Woody coached this team like a college team and not like an NBA team. Like, Balo was the star of this team, so he had to play Balo because that's what the NBA dictates. You don't take LeBron out of the game whether LeBron's playing like crap or not. You still play LeBron because that's what the fans demand. And I think he just didn't do that this game. I think he coached it like a Bob Knight team where just the guys that are getting it done are the guys that are going to play. It's as simple as that. And those guys are going to get the minutes. And that means for Mbako, ass meets bench. And I don't want to say that Mbako is always lazy. I've seen him play some.
He's not lazy on offense.
Huh?
Sometimes he's not lazy on offense.
No. Sometimes he's not lazy. Yeah, he's not. But nobody on this team's a great defensive player. But I'm not sure this team was really taught defense. I'm not sure. When I look at it, I don't see a lot of defensive tendencies that if I was an assistant coach in this team, I'd say, just give me the defense to get the hell out of my hair. I'll have these guys know what flavor of gum they're chewing. Quoting Hoosiers, of course.
Yes. The greatest movie ever made.
Yes, it was probably the greatest basketball movie ever made. I don't know. Glory Road.
Nah, Glory Road's crap.
No. You got to see the weather girl that Josh Lucas married here in L.A.
I don't even know who Josh Lucas is, Steve. I don't live in a foreign
movie
country.
Glory Road, he was the coach. He played Don Haskins.
Good for him. I've never even seen Glory Road.
You've never seen Glory Road?
But weird. I'm getting a call from El Paso, Texas right now. I'm not kidding either. But
it's probably Barnes's relative or something.
All right. Now, I think the big thing here was Indiana held Braden Smith in check. I mean, Braden Smith, to me, number one, he's a clear-cut first-team All-Big Tenner, but I think he's one of the best guards in the country. And at one point in the second half, Miles Rice picked him clean, drove the ball, put the Hoosiers up 44-40. Yeah. And I think that was the pivotal play in a 14-0 run that really blew this game out. And Smith,
Mike, don't you think with the fact we went with a 3-guard offense to start and 2 quick bigs and not necessarily size bigs, it allowed our perimeter guys to go out and play defense. We finally got defense above the perimeter and above the 3-point line, and we're able to get in their faces and take crap away from them. We hadn't done that all season because we felt like we got to protect our less than hustling, hardworking bigs inside. Yeah. I think when you had
let's look at it. I don't think Balo, even if he's hustling, is getting out on the perimeter.
No, but Balo's a presence inside. He led the Big Ten in block shots this year, I'm sure.
Played great all year long. It's just him and Renew don't mix at the same time defensively. And
he chose Renew this time instead of Balo, and look what it did for him.
Well, Renew
got him a win that really puts Indiana back in the hunt for a dance spot. It's slim. They got a lot of crap they got to do to get there still, but Jesus, this was a nail in the coffin game for IU. IU loses this game, they're done. It doesn't matter what they do.
Short of winning the playing Washington, Penn State, and Ohio State is not going to move by itself.
No, they have to have a couple tournament wins. I believe, but we'll get into that. We'll
talk about that in a minute. But the thing that stood out to me the most was Miles Rice, Luke Goody, Trey Galloway, Anthony Leal played the entire second half. They rotated Renew and Balo. And when you look at it, that was a winning combination here. Leal had 4 points in the second half, added 2 steals, 2 block shots. Rice, along with his defense against Smith, which we've already talked about, was outstanding. Scored 10 of his 12 points in the second half. Goody had 8 points in the second half, including a 3-pointer to get the Hoosiers within 2 at the 16-minute mark. Galloway scored 11 of his 15 points in the second half. Balo chipped in 8 points and 4 rebounds in 11 minutes in the second half. Yeah. Renew surpassed. Hey, wait a second. I got a question here. Renew surpassed the 1,000-point mark in his IU career.
How about that?
How many points?
Something I never did.
You didn't get to 1,000, Steve? Did you get to 500?
No, I only played 4 years. I wasn't on the Trey Galloway plan.
I'm sorry, but it's no excuse.
No, I became a ass meets bench specialty player for IU.
No, you were occasionally an ass beat Mitch guy. The good thing is you weren't in trouble when you got to the NCAA tournament in '81, so you got to play in the championship.
You know why? Because I was the one guy that would tell coach to go F off.
Oh shit! It was because Kitchell got in foul trouble in like the first minute. He got 3 fouls.
That was a championship game, and poor Ted never got back in the game, and I feel bad about that. Ted deserved to play in that game.
I do too.
More than I did.
Yeah, because we'd have won by a lot more too.
No, we wouldn't have, but Ted got us there all season long, and I'll never take that away from Ted.
All right.
Anyway, I look at things. The effort in the second half. Purdue in the second half, 3-point. Our perimeter defense 1 for 5 from the arc. You know, they only got 5 shots off our perimeter defense, and they only made 1 of them. That may be the game changer for Purdue, because Purdue killed us with a 3-point shot.
But that in the first half they did, but that's because you had 2 bigs. Yeah,
they were 54% from the
because basically IU didn't start the 2 bigs. They had a nice lead at the start, and then the lead went away when you added the second big, and then you played Carlisle, who I don't know why he ever gets in a game. But we talk now about the chance to dance. Sunday's win, I think, significantly helps IU's tournament hopes. Assuming the Hoosiers can build on it over the final 3 or 4 regular season games, the Hoosiers still have home games left against Penn State and Ohio State, and they have a road trip to play Washington and Oregon, Steve. And when we look at that, none of these games scare me, but really going to Washington and Oregon do scare me. You've got Ohio State, but you cannot afford to lose any of these 4 games.
Couple things. First off, believe it or not, with this win, Indiana snapped a 4-game home losing streak.
Well, they hadn't won at home since January 8th. Yes.
Yeah. So the 4-game losing streak snapped at Assembly Hall. They go into it now. Now, Penn State's a team, as I recall, comes into Bloomington and has beaten us more times than I can remember.
They used to beat us at Penn State. We did beat them the first game this year, and Penn State's been down, but they did have a great performance against Nebraska in the last week.
And then we take off and we go to the West Coast, and this is what I've harped on, and I know you've harped on it too, is just playing this crap-ass Marion College and
Marion's a game you have to play. That's a preseason exhibition, Steve.
Well, but those games are all at home. God, get on the road. Now we're going on the most critical road trip we've had all season long. We're going across the country at 2 different time zones. We're going to play at odd hours for our mental makeup, and we're playing 2 games that we absolutely have to win. We cannot falter in either one of these games. Washington, not very good basketball team. Oregon, it was ranked a lot of the beginning of the season, and then they fell off. They started playing in the Big Ten, and they realized the Big Ten is a little tougher than the Pac-10.
Sure,
they started hitting the skids. And so they've fallen out of the rankings right now. I don't even know if they're still a quad 1 team anymore.
They are. I mean, they're still pretty much in the tournament right now with most people. You look at Washington, there are some scary things, especially when they're at home. They beat Northwestern at home. They lost to Rutgers. They beat Penn State on the road. They lost to Iowa. There's nothing scary about Washington. If we lose that game, we don't deserve to be in the tournament. And that'll be all she wrote. But, I mean, they're not winning a lot of road games. They are staying close to some teams at home where they would normally get blown out. They did have a nice win at Michigan. But
don't take for fact what Indiana's done as a change in status. They had a good game. Now,
but I'm still saying Washington's a team that you should beat. I mean,
all 4 of the games left are teams we should beat.
I don't know about Oregon.
With your talent alone, if we manage that talent correctly, we should breeze through these 4 games. And I say breeze, meaning I'm not saying they're going to be blowouts. I'm saying we should be able to
Steve, this is the thing now. You talked about how hard it is to travel 3 time zones. Oregon did travel to Wisconsin on Saturday and beat a Wisconsin team.
That's only in 1 time zone.
And Wisconsin was a team, though, that was red hot. And they were ranked 11th in the country, and Oregon took them down 77-73. They also traveled to Michigan and lost 80-76. I mean, they lost at Michigan State 86-74. Yeah. They're a good basketball team, and they can beat us. But they only beat Iowa by 2 at Iowa, so that's one good thing, Aaron. because Iowa didn't.
Yeah,
have
no. I'm just saying this is not like us going up against UConn in the championship game last year. I mean, this is not an unwinnable game. These 4 games are not unwinnable, and if we manage the team like we managed them yesterday, they're all winnable. They're
and I will say this:
easily.
Brian says that he says let's not overlook Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State. Washington should be a win. I wouldn't overlook Washington with this team because we've seen Indiana's capable of beating anybody, but they're also painfully capable of losing to anybody. So Penn State, like I said, we just saw them, but they beat Nebraska pretty good when Nebraska was red hot. Oregon's a team that at the start of the year was considered a top 20 team. And Ohio State is a team just lost to UCLA. That Ohio State-Indiana game could be a win, and you still got a chance. Losing, you're out because Ohio State now, I think, with another loss to UCLA yesterday, dropped to like 15-12.
Yeah, Ohio State's really questionable whether they make it now.
Well, they're in the same boat as Indiana right now.
Right.
But Ohio State,
it could come down to the winner of the Ohio State-Indiana game goes to the dance.
It could, but you're still going to have to win. Whichever one you are, you're still going to have to put on it. You're going to have to make a run, at least 2 or 3 game run.
Mike, let me ask you a question, Mike. Would it be fair to say at this point, by winning Sunday, we have put ourselves back in a position where to make the tournament, just make the tournament and get a chance to play in the dance, we now control our own destiny.
Well, everybody controls their own destiny, Steve, because you can go win your conference tournament. If you win your conference tournament, you're going to control your own destiny. You're going to go to the tournament.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I see what you're saying. Well, I just felt that if we just went out and win a couple games in the tournament, we're in.
Should be.
So we just got to focus. We don't have to have somebody else lose.
Hey, right now, Steve, I'm going to give you this. CBS Sports Bracketology puts Indiana in the first 4 in Dayton playing Wake Forest right now. That's Jerry Palm.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how he gets that because I think that's mind-blowing.
You know what? You can go to the game.
I can, and the great thing about it is Xavier's playing Arkansas that night also, so that would be those would be the back-to-back games. I may have to go to Dayton twice.
Well, can't Malta get you passes and tickets?
Well, I can get me passes. I don't need tickets.
Malta can get you better seats, though.
No, they can't. I mean, I know the guy in Dayton. He sits me in the middle of the court in front row.
Okay.
And not Bob Uecker front row either.
Bob's dead.
It's the good front row. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Bob Uecker is still one of the funniest men you'll ever see.
Oh, he is the funniest man I've ever seen.
I don't know if he's the funniest, but he's up there.
He's my kind of humor. Anything else jump out at you at the game? Points in paint. 40. I didn't realize we had 44 points in the paint.
That's because Purdue cannot defend the perimeter. The interior.
We did that. I mean, like you said, Mbako only got 9 minutes. And Ballo, how many Ballo get? Ballo only had 23 minutes. So we basically had our 2 most powerful bigs only playing about a quarter and a half of the game. So that shows just by using speed and quickness and athletic jumping ability and whatnot in the paint, we were able to get a lot more done than by putting an aircraft carrier in there who doesn't work hard. I mean, if Ballo works hard, I'll take him.
I think he does. He just gets tired sometimes. Brian Wetters said, I don't think it's far-fetched. Indiana can win the Big Ten tournament. They're capable, but must play like they did in the second half. My problem with that is this, though.
Big Ten tournament.
My problem with them winning the Big Ten tournament is, Brian, there's no depth. Because if they actually play the guys, you saw yesterday, really, if you're playing the best guys, you're playing 6 or 7 guys.
Are you talking about no depth on the bench or no depth in the coach's locker room?
We saw, we know there's no depth in the coach's locker room, but what we saw is Carlisle, if he's got to give you significant minutes, that's not a good thing. Mbako, you never know what you're going to get from Mbako. So I would question having to win, 4 games in a row, being able to do that with the same 7 guys day after day. And a lot of this is going to be matchup. If you get Purdue, Purdue's a good matchup. Hell, Michigan State, I think, is a good matchup with Indiana.
Well, the lineup we put out there yesterday, any team's a good matchup for us.
No, they're not, Steve.
Why not?
Because I still think this. I think no matter what you do, a team like Wisconsin is a bad matchup. I put it like this.
Wisconsin's a bad matchup to just about anybody in the Big Ten.
I would rather play Wisconsin than I would Michigan State right now. And I know Wisconsin just came off a bad loss against Oregon, but I think with Bryce Williams and the way they could shoot the three with Nebraska, I think they're going to give, or Wisconsin, I think they would give us problems. I think Nebraska gives us problems. That would be to Bryce Williams, by the way.
But did you say you'd rather play Wisconsin than Michigan State?
I would rather not play Wisconsin or Nebraska. Give me Michigan State or Purdue. Michigan State is a team that is vulnerable because they don't shoot the three that well. Michigan State's playing great right now, Steve. What the hell do you mean they're floundering?
Who?
Michigan State's playing great.
Oh, okay.
They beat Michigan by 14 at Michigan.
They lost to Indiana at home.
Good for them. They followed it up by beating Michigan at Michigan. And
Michigan's that good. I don't think there's.
I don't think they are either. But Steve,
I think Wisconsin's the runaway team in the Big Ten. Truthfully, that's the team that scares me the most.
No, the team that I think may be the best team, and we may see it Wednesday night. Michigan State plays Maryland. Maryland's pretty damn good. Maryland's ranked top 20 now. And they've got two of the best players in the country. And Michigan State, though, Steve, since losing to Indiana, Michigan State blew out Illinois at Illinois. They beat Purdue by 9, and then they beat Michigan by 13 at Michigan. So I don't think they're floundering. What? I'm just saying they're not floundering.
No.
You think they're floundering? I don't.
I don't think as deeply as you do. That's why I'm not a coach.
Yeah.
I just think if we do the crap we got to do, we'll be okay.
Robert Stewart says I would work Tucker in the mix plus the 7 they got significant minutes. I agree. I don't know why you don't work Tucker in, but we got Brian Wetters who says we have to control ourselves to achieve a salvageable season. So the problem is we always have to control ourselves to get a salvageable season.
No clear-cut favorite. Yeah, I agree. There's no clear-cut favorite. Wisconsin, to me, is the team that I think will make the biggest impact in the tournament this year.
I like Maryland, but they're not very deep.
Yeah. Wisconsin's just good.
And Michigan State's obviously good. Just by
Michigan State's well coached. Michigan State's well coached. You know, they gave out a game ball to Renew yesterday because he hit 1,000-point mark. I would have really given a game ball to the coaching staff.
For who?
For IU.
What? For figuring it out? I'm pretty sure they
probably
just watched our show.
Yesterday's win, I think, goes to the coaching staff.
I think it goes to me, you, Robert Stewart, and everybody else that watches this show that constantly bitches about the way he subs, because yesterday was what we have asked for.
I really, truly think I would have handed a game ball to the coaching staff yesterday. I thought they won that game
for figuring it out. No, the players always win the game. The coaches can only lose the game.
Well, then they get a game ball for not losing the game.
Well, I'm just telling you, Steve. This is a little too late.
All right.
This team should be top 5 team in the Big Ten. Agreed, talent-wise?
They were picked number 2 in the Big Ten at the beginning of the season. I thought that was a legitimate draw.
And right now, what are they in the Big Ten standings?
7-9. They're in the bottom half.
So
they're like 8th or 9th or 10th or something like that. 10th or 11th. So
I think I'll save the game ball and give it to a player. So
well, go ahead and do that.
I will, Steve. I'm going to go get a game ball and I'm going to drive it to one of these guys' dorm room.
I think it's more important that the coaching staff perform at a high level for the next 4 games than the team. I think the coaching staff has to maintain what it elevated to yesterday.
Yes.
More so than the players need to stay where they are too, but it's going to be more of an asset if the coaching staff repeats what they did yesterday. And that's figure out how to play the opponent they're playing.
Right now, let's see. Indiana sits in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think 11th place in the Big Ten.
I already looked at that, Mike.
You should have known where they were then.
I did. I said they were 10th or 11th, somewhere in there.
Well, if you're looking at it, why would you say 10th?
I'm not looking at it.
Damn.
I'm not somebody from The View. I don't just read off of cue cards and say, oh, yeah.
Well,
you don't hear my computer going, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. the whole show. I got this shit memorized.
And right now, Michigan State is a half game ahead of Michigan for the Big Ten regular season championship. Wisconsin and Maryland are both 2 games back. Just for
And Purdue at 11-6 is out of it.
Well, they're not going to win a Big Ten championship this year. No. Right now, actually, Purdue is in 6th place in the Big Ten at 11-6. So
I didn't have to look that up. You do.
I didn't have to look that up.
You're looking at your computer screen right now.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at my computer screen, but that's not what I was looking at. I was looking at what we could talk about next.
Porn again?
I don't watch porn, Steve. That would be you.
All right. Okay, we're getting off tangent here.
So today, of course, there'll be no Ben McCullum. Chris Collins talk. That will be tomorrow.
Well, I think we need to add another coach to our coaching search breakdown.
Don't be stupid and say Mike Woodson because people are.
Oh, you have to add Mike into the mix now. We got to reevaluate Mike and look at him.
Okay, so he's coached 2 good games this year.
Okay.
Why would you look at him?
He's got a good resume. He's coach of the IU basketball program.
Who's he got coming in for next year?
Portals can't open up until after the Big Ten season.
Exactly. So what are the high school recruits?
He's got some guy named Sisley.
Yeah, one.
Okay, I don't know who's this Sisley kid. He thinks he's Risley.
Trent Sisley. He doesn't because he will score more points than you did an entire season.
He had in high school.
Year. Huh?
He had it in high school.
He hasn't, Steve?
No.
Has he lost to a team of midgets from Aurora, Indiana in the state tournament?
But I'm sure he's lost to other teams that
other midgets.
Game is what it is. It's a game.
It's a game.
You lose games you shouldn't lose. I lost a game I shouldn't have lost.
All right, so what we will do then.
You seem to lose more sleep over it than I do.
I don't lose sleep over anything.
You bring it up every time you
I just bring it up because the only
it
thing
doesn't occupy a lot.
It was the only thing that ever happened in Aurora, Indiana.
You want to see my Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame ring?
No, because you already told me how you got it.
Aurora,
you told me you bought it.
Well, I had to buy it. Yeah, they don't
buy
give
the
it
boats
to you for free.
Well, see, it's not a Hall of Fame if you had to pay for it.
No. So be it. It says Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame on it. So whatever it is.
Let's see. Brian Wetters. Likely a new coach system and rebuild next year.
Yeah,
hopefully.
I think that's likely.
Robert Stewart. Mac, while on the bench, always knows what camera is on him. He's a camera hog. LOL. Oh, man. You need to get off your Mackenzie Mbako.
Is he talking about you?
No, he's talking about Mackenzie Mbako.
Oh.
My guess is Mackenzie Mbako probably won't be here.
Did you see the big gesture Woodson made yesterday?
What? Where?
He sat in the chair that allegedly, I've heard so many stories about that damn chair. That chair doesn't exist anymore. It's in somebody's basement.
I heard the chair was in Turkey.
It may be in Turkey. There's been people sitting in it eating turkey for Thanksgiving.
Well, this is the thing, though. I don't know how it could be good luck because Knight threw the chair. It was in a year where I think Indiana went like 17-14 and lost in the NIT in the finals to Reggie Miller and UCLA. But we got blown out by Purdue in that game.
Repeat
the chair throwing game? We got beat by double digits by him.
By who?
By Purdue.
Oh, we got beat by double digits by Purdue a lot of times.
All right, Robert Schwartz, coaching search. If they hire Mick Cronin, they need to make sure they keep that cushion Woodson sits on.
If they hire Mick Cronin, they might as well keep Woodson.
Really? You're going to compare Mike Woodson to Mick Cronin, who wins?
No,
Mick Cronin's been to the Final Four. I don't like Mick Cronin.
I'm just not a Mick Cronin fan.
I'm not either. I know the guy. He's an asshole. He's weird, but he's not a bad basketball
He's notched his 500th win out here at UCLA.
I guarantee you this, the Indiana defense would be on point, but we won't be able to shoot still.
I don't know. I tell you, the more I'm reading about it, the more I'm liking that Collins guy. But he's not done anything at Northwestern either.
Dude, going to the NCAA tournament and making them relevant is like Kurt Signetti coming to Indiana and making them relevant because Northwestern was never relevant until Chris Collins.
Okay.
I think they did.
I don't think Indiana fans want to be relevant. I think they
No, what I'm saying is Chris Collins also kicks our ass more often than not.
I'll tell you what I do if I got to be coach of this program.
What would you do, Steve?
First thing I do is I get a razor blade and strip those goddamn stars. I'm sorry for my French.
Dadgum
stars off the asses of their uniforms. They haven't earned any of those.
Why wouldn't you just give them new shorts without stars?
Oh, that's the same metaphor. It's
really
a better metaphor to say I just would take them off, those shorts. They haven't earned any of those. They don't have the right to wear those.
Okay. I would take the Indiana off the front too, and each time they win a game, I'd sew like half a letter
You're
on.
always representing your school.
Are you?
Yeah.
Huh. And that school's won how many national championships?
Who?
That school's won how many national championships?
Indiana's 5.
Really? So why can't you put 5 on the ass if you're going to let them wear Indiana?
I don't know.
Huh. Good point again by me. Next up, we've got Brian Wetters, who says, to some extent, coaches that are an asshole are demanding. That's what we need. No, you can be a demanding coach without being an a-hole.
Who? Name one.
You can. Me.
Coach Can?
Me.
I looked up a-hole in the dictionary the other day, and it had your picture without a hat on. Maybe you or Mick Cronin. I can't tell who.
All right. So Mick Cronin just means IU will stay on the same 18 to 20 win path that we have become accustomed to. Not a home run. I agree. I'm just saying he's a better coach than Mike Woodson. That's all I said. It doesn't take much, but Mick Cronin has coached the team to the Final Four.
I don't know. I'm impressed with what Woody did yesterday. He coached like a college coach.
Oh, geez. It only took
I'm not advocating,
years.
and I don't think Mike. I think Mike's got too much class to take the program. And
I don't think Mike has any class, so don't worry about that.
I think Mike
if
has
he had
all
class,
the class
he would hang out.
world.
He would show up with Don Fisher when he's supposed to.
Mike has all the. I don't know what's going on with that. That's the first I've heard of it because I'm not in Indiana, so I don't hear Don Fisher a lot. Although I did listen to him on the radio that I was sitting at the car wash.
Oh yeah, so he's the biggest iconic figure left in Indiana basketball, I think. Because I'll tell you what, a couple of weeks ago, I had to take the girls, drop them off at their grandma's, or I had to pick them up. So the second half, instead of actually watching, I got on the Varsity app and listened to it with Don Fisher. Mm-hmm. And it was almost like it was 1980 again, except for the fact that we lost. It wasn't like 1980 then.
Yeah. Okay. Purdue IU, great outing for IU. It was a college win. They were coached like a college team. They played like a college team. They dismantled a good basketball team. They did. In the second half, they dismantled them.
I don't know that I would call Purdue a good basketball team right now.
I think Purdue's a good basketball team. They're well coached.
They've lost 4 straight games.
Well, they're having a slump right now.
They're not having a slump.
Maybe this is the best thing that ever happened to them.
It's really not, Steve.
They lose 4 games down. They go and then they get back to the final.
They've lost 4 games because everybody's figured out they can't defend the interior at all, and people are just going to pound the hell out of them, and they're going to get beat a lot more. This is not a Purdue team that's going to a Sweet 16, put it like that.
Okay.
They're going to be one and done. At least that's what I think. But
you know what?
Am I right? What?
That's my IU hat I won from you from a bet. Still has all the tags on.
You know what's a bitch?
That's my Colts hat I won from you on a bet. You want to make another hat bet?
You've only won one bet. Wait, Steve. Last year, everybody saw this. You and the little midget douchebag from Florida both bet me IU would make the tournament. Neither one of you paid up. So I would say this.
What do we owe you?
Up a hat. That was a hat.
What hat do you want? You never told me what hat you want.
I didn't, because you never brought it up again because you lost, which it never gets brought up. But when you win, you bring it up 3 years later.
Unlike living in Brooksville, Indiana.
I don't live in Brookville, Indiana.
Aurora, Indiana.
I don't live in Aurora, Indiana.
Where do you live?
It's none of your damn business, Steve.
Batesville, Indiana.
I don't live in Batesville, Indiana.
Brookville, Indiana.
I don't live in Brookville. That's the second time you said it.
What's the other town down there just south of that?
You ought to go get some crossword puzzles so you don't forget shit so much.
I used to go down to Cincinnati all the time because they had a Mastercraft boat shop dinner. I needed parts for my Mastercraft.
Well, yeah, you had to come to Cincinnati because you lived in what?
No, because you're Mayberry? On the river. You're on the river. We live on Indianapolis is the largest landlocked city in the United States.
Is it really?
It is, believe that or not.
Nobody cares, though.
Hey, did you watch the deal on the Americas last night?
On the what?
The Americas.
On the Americas.
Yeah, Tom Hanks narrated it. It's about all the wildlife in the Americas. It's Canada, North America, South America, Central America.
No, Steve. Robert Schwartz says IU rattled Braden Smith in the second half. Their whole offense suffered. I agree. All right, guys.
Way to go,
Tomorrow
Robert.
we will go back on our IU coaching search. And if Steve wants to bring Mike Woodson up into the search again later on in the week, we can do that and break down why we should or shouldn't do that. But tomorrow we're going to look
I think if he here's what I think about Woodson. All right, and I've talked to you about this off air. Why do you treat me like that, Mike?
Because he sucks as a coach. We've been
together for a long time, and you just diss me like that. Wow.
I didn't diss you like anything, Steve.
You dissed me.
You're the one that's on here bringing up Mike Woodson could be the coach again.
I'm telling you this. If I was, before I fired him or asked him to resign, I would have said, here's your option. You can either get fired or resign, or drop your entire assistant coaching staff, and we will bring you in a bona fide, capable, qualified college coaching staff to work with. And you are the head coach, but you'll work with these assistants.
All right, hold on. AJ Adams. AJ Adams says, please take your focus, Bills. Talk about Ben McCollum. I thought that was today's focus. That would have been today's focus, but we needed to do an Indiana Purdue show after Sunday's game, and I did not want to disrespect Coach Woodson and the IU basketball players that played so well yesterday. Ben McCollum, I promise you, will be tomorrow at 12 or 1 o'clock, Steve.
Let's go 1 o'clock your time.
Okay, so it'll be 1 o'clock Eastern time.
1 o'clock my time.
I apologize, AJ, but I thought it would be very crass after a good win like that to just talk about Ben McCollum. I want to talk about Ben McCollum because
I've got notes on Ben McCollum.
I think Ben McCollum is the guy I would pick to be the head basketball coach. But we'll talk about that tomorrow after I research it. Maybe
after looking at his resume, Mike, I don't know that I can disagree with you to that great extent. I think that he presents mostly what we're looking for: young, kind of a May type character. I think a lot in the same boat. A lot of things similar, but May's got the resume of having.
I think he's a better coach.
What?
I think Ben McCollum's a better coach than Dusty.
Okay, well, I leave that to you because you've been a coach.
So I'm not completely blown away by Dusty. I think Dusty May's a hell of a basketball coach.
No, yeah, right. But we're enamored with Dusty May.
I think
he's a IU guy.
And I do we appreciate everybody that's listened to those shows. Those shows last week, I think the three of them got like 15 to 20,000 listens. AJ, again, I agree that Purdue is not a good team. Thank you for a good show. Nevertheless, I want Ben McCollum too.
Yeah, AJ, listen tomorrow. We will have Ben
listen
McCollum.
Tomorrow at 1. We will give you all the AJ or Ben McCollum talk that you could possibly get. Make sure you chime in with your comments too, because at some point Steve's going to say, well, this is like Archie Miller. Because when I first brought it up to him, that's what he said.
No, I was a firm believer of Archie Miller. He just, for some reason, he didn't work. I don't know why. I still, to me, he's the biggest enigma of all the coaches that have come here because I believed in that guy a ton.
Yeah, I did too. I'm not going to lie.
I did. I tell you, Dayton, what he did at Dayton was no less than fantastic.
I will also admit to you this, though. I was the one person on this show that did not like the Mike Woodson hiring. So I was right on that one.
I liked Mike because I like Mike. I mean,
and if you like Mike, it should be Michael Jordan.
I'm very sad for Mike. I think he deserved better, but he didn't create better, and that's on him. I mean, and we're not gonna reevaluate Mike Woodson. He's gone.
All right, guys. So Steve
Ben McCollum and Chris Collins tomorrow.
Ben McCollum, Chris Collins tomorrow.
I expect the first comment on our decision, on our talk about him, to be from AJ.
Yes. And I should have explained Ben McCollum at the start. I thought I did, but I don't think I gave an in-depth explanation.
So Robert, shut up for 10 minutes tomorrow.
No, Robert could chime in too. Robert, right now, he's on our favorite listeners list. There's like
he's our only favorite listener.
No, there isn't. There's more than one. I mean, damn, Steve, we got like 697 on 4 different places put together live, and we didn't let people know we were doing it until 10 minutes before. So we're all right. All right, guys, make sure you follow Steve Risley on Twitter at SRisley34. You'll notice he doesn't do much there because he's too old. He can't really see. His fingers
I'm not
are brittle.
A social media kind of guy. Okay, I just stay off of it. It's kind of like being out after midnight. Nothing good happens after midnight, and nothing good happens on social media. So Jesus.
AJ says it will be. You are awesome. Does he mean both of us or just one of us?
He's just talking about you. I'm not awesome.
All right, guys. You can follow me on Twitter, on X at Grilling Truth. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification on YouTube. Just because we're not a bunch of talking heads talk about racist stuff on ESPN, that should put us well ahead of everybody else. And we're not Dan Dockage. And even Steve is better looking than Dan Dockage. So check out thegrillingtruth.com. But for now, guys, he's Steve Risley. I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to the Grilling Truth.
Eric's comment.
Oh, hold on. We don't want to leave Eric out. Eric's got a comment. Archie didn't embrace the emphasis of the 3-point line. That was his downfall, not bringing in pure shooters. But he did bring in Trace Jackson Davis. So I still think if you'd have let him run, he might have got the 2 years in the tournament like Woody did and getting beat early. So I could say this. Archie did recruit a homegrown player that ended up being, I think, a top 10 or 15 all-time Indiana Hoosier.
Interesting, Mike?
What?
I just reflected on this. Having played in 1980 with who?
Landon Turner.
No, who?
Oh, Ray Tolbert.
Yeah, okay. Don't be a
Mike Woodson. I'm always a dick. You already said I was. You said I was an asshole.
No, 80 and 81.
Mike Woodson. No, Mike
Isaiah.
Woodson. Isaiah, what about him?
Who's the best college guard probably ever played the game?
Oscar Robertson.
Okay. Who's the second best?
Magic Johnson.
Third. Where does Isaiah rank to you?
I think he's probably third.
Okay. And then we look at now the downfall of IU since we've lost Alford for all intent and purposes has been guard play. We have not really truly
early 90s you had good guard play, but yeah, for the most part, the OT team had good guard play.
You had Mike Lewis and you had Todd Leary and you had hustling, hardworking guys that didn't have a lot of talent.
He was
what Indiana needs to do is go find the next stud guard. And I'll tell you what, this game is no longer about bigs. It's played so athletically. It's about quickness, agility, speed, not strength. George McGinnis probably wouldn't survive in this day and age.
Well, for the last 25 years.
They just renamed the gym.
For the last 25 years, guard play has been the issue. It's been the issue for the Big Ten. I mean, the last great guard I can remember, great true point guard was probably Mateen Cleaves. And that was the last time Michigan State, the last time a Big Ten team won a national championship.
Yep.
So, all right.
So I think if Indiana does anything, they need to get a good coach in. McCollum, to me, is from what I've researched and read and ready to go today. But we'll do it tomorrow.
Yep.
I think McCollum is up there. I liked Chris Collins. I like
you just don't on the NFL games.
Barnes. Is it Barnes? Who's the guy from Ole Miss?
Chris Beard.
Beard and Barnes. I keep saying Beard and Barnes.
Hey, hold on. Eric said I was right about the guards. Great point. So there you
go. Yeah. Thank you, Eric, for the comment. Even though we were ready to wrap up the show, now you put an extra 5 minutes on it.
Yes, but that's all right, because what the hell? We didn't
Eric,
lose.
Save that thought for tomorrow and come back, too.
Yes, tomorrow. Ben McCollum, Chris Collins.
You get to come on right after AJ.
For now, for Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grilling Truth.